Are you ready for another wisdom walk? Happy New Year to you. I'm so delighted to start the year off with this conversation around devotion. Seems to me that we tend to set a lot of intentions at this time of the year, early in the year, and sometimes they don't last. You want to know why? Let's talk about that. So happy to be with you. It's a beautiful morning here. I'm actually away from home. I'm at a hockey tournament with my son. Just getting my middies on here. Oh, hi. So I talked about, setting intentions in the new year and, alluded to this idea that, sometimes we don't keep them and, to dial into maybe the reasons why we don't keep those intentions and what happens, what falls apart. So I want to talk actually about the theme of devotion today. And devotion for me is really creating conscious and present practice for the things that serve my highest good. That's what devotion means to me. And there's two components to devotion. Devotion has the quality of discipline. And so discipline is the pattern. Discipline is the structure, okay? We might associate discipline with getting in trouble when we were younger, because I know for me, that's what discipline meant to me, was getting in trouble. It was punishment. But discipline is not that. Discipline is a pattern for us to follow. It kind of gives us this, it does give us this sacred structure. I liken it to the analogy of the fire hydrant, and many of you who've heard me speak or taken my classes, I use this analogy a lot because it is so suiting. It's like if I open the fire hydrant without a hose, the water sprays everywhere, right? It's kind of like our energy. If we don't have some level of structure, then that energy just goes everywhere, and all of a sudden we're depleted or we're overwhelmed, right? So discipline is the structure. It's the fire hose that we put on the fire hydrant, yeah? And so it gives us this beautiful structure so that we can determine where the energy goes. We can allow ourselves to put that energy into things that are really serving us and really supporting us and our highest evolution. And so discipline is a very important factor in the overall picture of devotion. The other piece of devotion I want to talk about is commitment. Now, commitment is actually the quality of now that structure, that discipline. So commitment means that, okay, so here's the example. I have a discipline that every day I do physical activity. Every day. It's non-negotiable. It's part of my structure. And so even if I fit it in the morning or later at night, that part doesn't matter. I have flexibility in the power of free will to choose that. But I know that that is one thing that I do every day for myself, for my highest growth. Now, if I'm going for that workout every day, but, on one of the days I'm like, I don't feel like it, and I'm half-assing it, that is because I'm not committed to being present in the experience. And so the level or the depth of the commitment determines the quality, because if I'm half-assing it, am I going to have as good of a workout as am I going to feel as good when I'm finished? Those sorts of things, yeah? And so this whole piece around commitment is the quality of the experience. Another quick little example might be I could do the dishes and not enjoy it at all because it's like I'm thinking of the next thing I need to do, or I'm just in a rush to get it done. I'm not in the present moment. If I'm in the present moment because I'm committed to fulfilling the entire experience for myself, of really allowing myself to have the experience, well, now I can feel the warm water on my hands, which I would love as I hold my phone with my cold hands. Am I witnessing how beautiful it feels to wipe that dish clean? That commitment to that experience in that present moment determines the quality. That's the point of that. I know it took me a while to get there, but this whole idea of commitment is going to determine the quality. It's also kind of like the glue that sticks us on the path, right? So the discipline is the structure of the path, and the commitment is the glue that keeps us there, that anchors us into getting the most out of the experience. So if we have those two components, the discipline and the commitment, guess what? We end up oftentimes fulfilling those intentions that we set at the beginning of the year. The other clue, and I've talked about this on previous wisdom walks, but the other clue is in the balance of the triangle. The triangle consists of three components: our head, or our mind, our heart, and our will. So the mind, the heart, and the will. And those three components need to be on board in order for us to fulfill that new devotion. So if your new devotion for the new year is like, okay, I'm going to go to the gym every day, you can check in with the heart, the head, and the will and see where those components of you are at in terms of your willingness. If the heart's not totally in it, guess what? You might last a few weeks, but it's going to fade. If the will's not really there, it's like, oh, I really, really have resistance to going. Sometimes we can fall short on that intention, right? Or that devotion. So one of the things that we can look at is we can look at what is the quality of my commitment to this thing? What does the discipline or the structure of my commitment look like? So going back to my commitment to movement every day or working out every day, I get to choose what the workout looks like. Today, it's a walk, right? Tomorrow, that might be hitting some weights. So I have flexibility still in my devotion, in my discipline. So some people say that structure is too rigid, and this is where we sometimes go wrong as well, is we create too rigid of a structure. And so give yourself a little bit of grace, a little bit of breathing room when you're setting up new devotions for the new year, and make sure that that heart, that head, and that will are aligned. And if you do those couple of things, those in themselves will help us. But if you really, really want to get the most value out of it, the level of your commitment does make a difference. And that means being present in the moment, in the experience, allowing yourself to fully receive that experience. That's what it's about after all, isn't it? Isn't there only but now? And I want to finish with this because it was such a beautiful opportunity of reflection. In our last month's Spirit Minds, in our December Spirit Minds, we had Dr. Jamil come on board. And Dr. Jamil is a spiritual advisor, a naturopathic doctor, and he brings so much to the world. So I wanted to give him a little bit of a shout out and a quote here today. And he talked about being pregnant with the next moment. So in this moment now, I'm already birthing the next moment. And it was this beautiful piece of reflection. And although I had heard that in other ways of, each moment is present with the next, there was something about this idea of birthing the next moment that was really profound to me. And as we are birthing a new year, we have this opportunity to recognize that in each moment, in this present moment, I'm already pregnant with the next moment. And so what I'm doing here right now, in whatever the experience is, in my groundedness of it, my alignment of it, my joy in the moment, that will give birth to the next moment and the next moment after that. And so it gives us this beautiful, lovely invitation to really ponder, what am I birthing in this moment? What am I tuning into? What energy am I tuning into? What devotion am I leaning into? And that allows us to make this beautiful pathway of possibility come to life. We can't think it into existence. We must birth it in that moment. We must embody it. We must feel it. And so this is my invitation to you as you start this year. What are you birthing? What are you birthing in this moment? What are you now going to allow yourself to be devoted to with that beautiful discipline and with that commitment to really embrace the experience and get as much value out of it as possible. That's why we're here, to receive as much as we can. So, with that said, I thank you so much for tuning in. And we've got a full, fun, brilliant year ahead in our beautiful wisdom walks. I can't wait to continue diving in with all of you. And I hope to see you at 7 Days of Creation starting today, January 1st. So let's hop on board with that. It's a free experience for you to enjoy all of the goodness in what we have to offer with the 7 Days of Creation. So come and create with me and allow yourself to devote to new experiences that are going to help you to grow and to deepen your relationship with the divine. Bye for now.